Hello everyone, welcome to Acoustic Paradiso. Today we're looking at something a bit different, and that is electric guitars for the acoustic guitarist. I know what you've been up to late at night on the internet, looking at pictures of electric guitars. I've seen you. You're there, I didn't mean to click on it, but it happened. And if you're tempted by the dark underbelly of the guitar world that is electric guitars, let me be your guide. And this is a very subjective video. These are purely my opinions about what electric guitars I think you might like if you normally play a particular type of acoustic guitar. We're going to split this over two videos because otherwise it's going to take forever. Today we're looking at Parlour guitars and your mid-sized guitars like OMs and stuff. We're going to do another video where we're basically looking at different types of dreadnought and all that kind of thing. So what am I looking at here? I'm not trying to match, like tones. I'm not necessarily trying to match brands or anything like that. These are just the electric guitars that, to me, feel comfortable in relation to the acoustic guitars. It's very vague, isn't it? But I'm going to explain what I mean. We'll start with Parlours. I've just been over to the shop, basically, and I've picked out loads of guitars. It's been a really fun morning. This is the Parlour guitar I've chosen. We're a bit thin on the ground of small guitars at the moment because they're so popular, because people have come to their senses and realised that Parlour guitars are amazing. This is the G00. It's part of the Gibson Generation series. I think we did a video on this a while back. There'll be a link below. Go and check it out. There's some more interesting stuff about them. They're the ones with the hole in the top, if you're after that. Let me play some Parlour guitar for you so you can see what we're going for. Parlour guitars, the key things about them, obviously, they're small. They have a very generally speaking, a very mid-range heavy sound. A nice top end as well, but not that much bass. I'm going to do a bit of picking, a bit of strumming, and then I'll explain why I've chosen these two guitars as your complementary electric guitars to this acoustic. I guess it's like if we're talking about a meal and this is the fish course, we're going to choose the wine to go with it. Then we're going to move on to the meat. My analogy falls apart there. But anyway, this is a Parlour guitar. It sounds like this. Lovely. I love Parlour guitars. If you've watched this channel before, you'll know that my main acoustic guitars of choice are Parlour guitars. So when I was looking for electric guitars to complement them, my first thought was actually this one. This is the Harmony Juno, which I'm sure Pete Lee have done videos on before. It's made in America. It's got these two pickups. They're gold foil covers. I don't think they're the traditional gold foil construction. It's got a volume knob. It's got a 3-barrel bridge like you'd find on a Telecaster style bridge arrangement. It's small. That was the main thing I went for on this one, to be honest. Like a little Parlour guitar, one of the things I really like about them is that you can hunch over and you can hug the whole thing. And that's what you can definitely do with this because it's teeny, the body of it. The neck is really nice and chunky. As I say, tonally there's a huge variation because we're going through there's so many different options. For all of these electric videos, I'm using the DP40 in the corner. I've got no pedals in line apart from this looper, just so I can do a bit of looping, obviously. So here we go. This is the Harmony Juno. If you are a Parlour player, you might like it. I'm going to play it for a while and then talk about why. All right? So I'm going to do what I would do on acoustic, but on electric. Just blow minds left, right and centre. Because it's small, you can do all the wobbling around that I know annoys people in the comments section, but that I always do when I play. It's nice and compact. I like the sound of it as well, just because I like the sound of it. I mean, there's only so much stuff you can say about why you like the tone of things. I like the tone of this because the bridge pickups, that sounds like this. Which to me is kind of like picking near the bridge on a Parlour guitar. The neck pickup, again, it's like picking near the neck, isn't it? That's the whole point. It's a fun guitar to play. You're not going to feel overwhelmed by the size of it if you're used to a small guitar. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that most acoustic players have played electrics, but then I do know a lot of acoustic guitarists who say they're going to play electric guitar and then pick like some kind of crazy thing with like a Floyd Rose and all that kind of stuff, which is a very different electric guitar to something like this, which has it's got a nice chunky neck. If this neck was on an acoustic guitar, I wouldn't be surprised. It's quite wide, it's good for finger picking, all that kind of thing. It's lovely. I'm going to move on to my next choice, if you're a Parlour player looking for an electric guitar, and that is this. Ooh, there we go. So it's a classic. It's the Les Paul Junior. I love Les Paul Juniors. Single pickup, one P90, one volume control, one tone control. The reason I like Les Paul Juniors is because they're super fun to play, and because there's less stuff on them, there's less to get distracted by. It's why I don't use pedals a lot of the time, because if I have a pedal board in front of me, I just get distracted and end up tweaking knobs and pressing buttons rather than playing the guitar. But this, because it's only got the one pickup, you have to play it more like an acoustic in terms of how you get different tones out of it, because you can't switch pickups. So let's see what that sounds like. So I've not adjusted the amp at all, so I'm not sure what it's going to sound like, but I'm sure it's going to be great because it's a nice amp and a nice guitar. I learned how to turn the looper off for this one. That's good, isn't it? So that's the Les Paul Junior. Again, like I say, single pickup guitars. I dig them because that's what you've got to work with, right? You can't fiddle with them too much because you've only got limited controls. This is a really nice one, obviously. But there we go. So that, if you're looking for an electric guitar and you normally play a Parlour guitar, it might be worth considering the Harmony Juno or the Les Paul Junior. Your opinion may differ. You may say, that's ridiculous, Ben, and I want a bright pink guitar with a Floyd Rose on it. And that is good for you. More power to you. Let's move on to the next size guitar we're going to be looking at, which is the mid-size guitar. I've chosen this one, which is a 0028 No, it's not. Sorry, it's an OM28. But in this kind of family of guitars, I'm gonna anything mid-size. So we're kind of grand auditorium, the tremolos, all that kind of thing. Let's see what I've chosen for these. So mid-size acoustic guitars. As I said, this is the one that I've chosen as our kind of reference benchmark. Not that the acoustic guitars really matter in this video, but I'm in a guitar shop where one of these was, so I chose it because it's lovely. This, as I said, this is the OM, the Orchestra Model 28. It's the mid-size guitar. It sits between the Parlours and the kind of dreadnought size, which we're going to be looking at in episode 2 of Electric Guitarists for Acoustic Guitars. So subscribe and like so you get notifications about that. It's got more bottom end than your Parlour guitars. It's a slightly bigger body, but it's still a narrower kind of. It's narrower. There we go. It's a narrower body, so you can still wrap yourself around it. It still feels nice to play. This is obviously, you know, this is a £3,500 guitar. It's beautiful. I'm going to play some stuff on it, and then I'm going to look at these and tell you why I chose these two guitars as the complement for this. So. Lovely. So you can hear, I would say, for want of a better word, it sounds a little bit more sophisticated than the Parlour. And I love Parlours. I play Parlours all the time, but maybe I'm just not that sophisticated. It's a bit more hi-fi. It's a bit more kind of full range because it's got a bigger body and everything. And that kind of vibe, the kind of vibe I'm talking about from your OMs and that kind of thing, I think is pretty much perfectly encapsulated in the classic Fender Stratocaster. This one here, what's this? This is a Fender Stratocaster. I can't remember the American Professional 2. I just grabbed your kind of standard American Strat off the shelf. It's an interesting thing to note that kind of there are several notable players who play Strats who also have signature OMs, like John Mayer has got a signature OM. Clapton, he's got a signature Strat, but he's also got a signature, I think his is actually a double O or a treble O. So it's slightly different, but it's still in the same kind of body size and voicing type of thing. And so Strats and OMs in my head always sit quite nicely together. You know about Strats. Even if you're an acoustic player, you know what a Stratocaster is. I'm not going to talk about any of the pickup settings because, you know, it's a Strat, as I say, but I will play it for a little while and you can see the kind of vibe I'm thinking about that I get from the OM as well. So. It's a Strat. It sounds great. This is a really nice Strat, actually. I'm not normally much of a Strat player or a Strat fan, but I do enjoy this one. So whereas the the Parlour size guitars, they've got so much mid-range and punch and kind of cut there, they suggest something a bit more raucous. But because the OM size guitars tend to be a bit more kind of rounded across the frequency spectrum and a bit more polite, and I think a Strat is quite a polite sounding guitar. I used to love Strats when I was a kid, and then I got one and I played it for a few years and realised that it's not really the guitar for me. But then I don't play OMs very often either, so maybe there's, method to my madness. I'm also going to show you my second choice for guitars that you might like if you like OMs. It's very much in the kind of the wheelhouse of classic guitars. I'm sure you recognise this shape and this layout. This is a T-style guitar, but rather than choosing a Fender, I have gone for this G&L ASAT Classic. I really like the G&L stuff. If you don't know who G&L were, G&L was the company that Leo Fender, that's the L, set up after he left Fender, after they were bought out by CBS, I think. And it was the next step, the next kind of stage of evolution of his guitar designs. So this, although it does look like a Telecaster, it has got various bits and pieces which are not the same as you would find on your more traditional Fender Telecaster. There's with all these guitars, as ever, there's links down below, there's specs and there's descriptions, and if there's any other videos that have been done on them, there'll be links to those and all that stuff. I'm just going to play this rather lovely ASAT and show you what it is. It does, because it's a Telecaster style guitar, it does lean more towards the raucous end, but OM style. So there's a lot of blues players use this kind of thing. Let's do some kind of fastish blues, shall we? No. Nearly finished when I meant to. So this is just a fun guitar to play. If you like OMs and you like Telecasters, this is great. There's not a lot I can say about this style of guitar that has not been said a million times, other than if you can't do it on a Telecaster style guitar, it's probably not worth doing in the first place. That's not to say there aren't other guitars that could do something better, but a Telecaster will cover you in pretty much any situation. I love Tellies, but that's kind of by the by. There is part 2 of this coming up, where we're going to look at different, bigger acoustic guitars, and the electric guitars I think might pair with them. as I said at the beginning of this video, this is entirely my own opinion. You may vastly disagree with me, which is fine, and I would love to hear what you think are the perfect electric guitar pairings for parlours and OMs and tremolos and all that kind of thing. So do comment and click like and subscribe. Part 2 is going to be coming up soon, hopefully, and I'm going to see about playing some more electric guitars because it's fun. I think it's also worth noting, if you're an electric guitar player watching this and you normally play a Strat and you're tempted by an acoustic, then try an OM size. And if you're normally playing something like a Les Paul or even a kind of Telecaster for the more raucous stuff, think about a Parlour. The best thing you'll ever do for your electric guitar playing is play the acoustic guitar. And I try and tell this to all my students, but they don't normally believe me. But the reason is that playing the acoustic guitar is a lot harder work physically than playing the electric guitar. So if you spend a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a couple of months just playing acoustic and then you go back to the electric, you'll just be flying on it and you'll love it. But yeah, these are very much... The reason I didn't use pedals here and the reason we didn't plug these acoustics in is because I'm just looking at the guitars in terms of how they feel to me without any extra stuff. Obviously with an electric guitar you need an amplifier because that's part of the instrument, and that's why I chose the DP40 because that's just a good kind of straight down the middle nice valve amp with a bit of reverb, which is what I wanted. Yeah, so there we go. If you are an acoustic player looking for an electric, try these out. And if you're an electric player looking for an acoustic, try the reverse out and try and look at some of the other things. Maybe we'll put a couple of links to some other Parlours and other OMs down in the links below, but I just chose these two because they were in the shop and they're nice. So yeah, click like and subscribe, come back and watch some more stuff soon. I'm going to play out on this because it's fun. We'll see you soon, everyone.